Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute masterpiece that is the cinematic adaptation of Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. We're going to explore exactly how the film manages to turn a really complex, hard sci-fi novel into a visual stunner of mystery and discovery. Because you see, this isn't just your standard story about a space mission. It's a literal masterclass in how filmmakers can lure us into the wonders of the cosmos layer by layer.
All right, let's just jump right in, exactly where the movie does, in media res. Imagine waking up from a coma. You're totally confused, disoriented, and the very first thing you see are these two incredibly ominous words scrawled on a medical bag, "Good luck." Our protagonist, Dr. Ryland Grace, played by Ryan Gosling, is suffering from severe amnesia. He has absolutely zero idea where he is or why he's even there.
Chapter 1. Waking Up in Space.
See, we're experiencing this whole thing exactly as Grace does. By intentionally holding back his memories, the directors literally force us to focus entirely on the immediate terrifying stakes. We're locked inside this ship, the Hail Mary, grappling with the really tragic reality of his two dead crewmates, Yao and Alicia. It essentially keeps us hooked on the survival mystery right in front of us, rather than getting us bogged down in whatever bleak truths might exist back on Earth.
And the way they visually separate these two worlds, it's just brilliant. Cinematographer Greg Fraser actually worked with entirely new lenses to shoot the space scenes in a towering 1.43:1 IMAX vertical squeeze. It gives you this incredibly tall, isolated, and lonely feeling. But then, when Grace's memories flicker back to Earth, it sharply cuts to a much more grounded, wider 2.39:1 aspect ratio. It's this subtle, subconscious visual cue that completely shifts our emotional state.
So, as Grace starts kind of poking around and mapping out his environment, he finds these wild architectural details that were specifically designed to keep a human sane across an 11.9 light-year journey to the Tau Ceti system. There's this medical nanny bot he ends up nicknaming Armando, and computer interfaces in English, Chinese, and Russian. And honestly, my personal favorite? An LED sphere designed to simulate Earth landscapes. It's literally dubbed the Don't Go Crazy Room, because out there in the void, cabin fever is deadly.
Chapter 2. The Art of First Contact.
Okay, so things get crazy when Grace realizes, wait, I'm not actually alone out here. Through the ship's scopes, he spots Blip A. It's an alien vessel made of solid xenonite, completely lacking any normal Earth metals. And from this ship emerges Rocky. Rocky is essentially a faceless, five-legged rock spider about the size of a Labrador. And thank goodness the filmmakers stayed true to the book here. There are no human-like eyes or weird Hollywood makeovers, just pure, weird alien biology.
Now, I want you to look at the fascinating, escalating linguistic progression the film uses to show two vastly different species trying to talk to each other. Step 1 is basic math and numbers. Grace uses a felt-covered analog clock because Rocky's world is pitch black. He perceives texture and sound, not light. Then, step 2, Rocky introduces musical chimes and tones using an Iridian clock. And by step 3, Grace is actually recording Rocky's chirps into his computer to generate a fully functioning audio translation. It is problem-solving at its absolute finest.
What really makes this connection feel so authentic on screen is that Rocky wasn't just painted in later with CGI. He was brought to life through some really stunning practical puppeteering by James Ortiz and a whole team in black suits right there on set. So instead of talking to a tennis ball on a stick, Ryan Gosling actually got to act opposite a physical puppet. It just gives their on-screen friendship an undeniable charm that you really cannot fake.
And for the book fans out there, the filmmakers definitely hit some fantastic Easter eggs. Like in the audio novel, the legendary narrator Ray Porter voiced Rocky. While for the movie, the directors tried all sorts of different live voices on set to surprise Gosling, including, get this, a brief, uncredited vocal cameo from Meryl Streep. Ultimately, they went with lead puppeteer James Ortiz. Also, while the book implies a genetic defect caused the crew's deaths, the film leaves the exact details kind of vague, intentionally saving them for potential sequel material.
Through this intense shared isolation, their bond really deepens. There's this one scene where Grace is talking about a girlfriend back on Earth who left him for a guy named Mark. And Rocky simply replies, "Rocky hate Mark." This was actually an improvised, hilariously sweet moment on set. It perfectly captures how these two lone survivors bond over shared heartbreaks, and eventually singing karaoke together inside the ship's simulated LED sphere.
Chapter 3. The Astrophage Crisis.
All right, stepping back for a second. Why are they even out here in the first place? Well, we learned that this entire apocalyptic crisis revolves around a microscopic organism. Grace coins the term astrophage, which is Latin for star eater. It's basically a cellular organism made mostly of water that consumes solar energy. It migrates between stars and Venus-like planets to reproduce, and it is quite literally dimming Earth's sun, causing rapid, cataclysmic global cooling.
Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity's entire survival rests on the ruthless Eva Strat. I mean, think about what you would do with absolute power. Strat is granted full legal immunity by world governments to do whatever it takes. She forces warring nations to collaborate and intentionally recruits rebel thinkers like Grace, simply because he once theorized that life didn't strictly need water. Under her iron fist, they mass-breed astrophage just to fuel this desperate one-way mission.
So back out in space, Grace and Rocky actually discover a cure. It's called Talmoeba, and it's a natural astrophage predator. The catch? It lives deep in the deadly aurora-filled atmosphere of a nearby planet. In a wildly intense sequence that honestly rivals Interstellar's famous docking scene, Grace and Rocky aggressively fish for this microscopic predator in chaotic low orbit, risking absolutely everything to save their homes.
Chapter 4. The Ultimate Sacrifice.
Now, with the scientific problem seemingly solved, the story shifts gears. It goes from a mission of survival to a really profound question of character. Who would you die for? This question, originally asked by his late commander Yao, suddenly echoes back in Grace's mind. For most of his life, Grace didn't have an answer. He didn't have anyone he loved enough to sacrifice himself for, and this realization completely forces him to reevaluate his entire life's purpose.
And guys, here is the absolute gut punch of a twist. Grace? He wasn't a willing hero. A flashback reveals he actually chickened out right before launch, but Eva Strat, knowing he was the only one with the specific genetic markers to survive the coma, literally forced him into it against his will. What makes his eventual heroism so incredibly poignant is that his past self was a coward. It was the amnesia that wiped the slate clean, allowing his innate goodness and curiosity to take the wheel when the universe really needed him.
So, the climax hits, and it hits hard. Just as they're parting ways, Grace realizes they overbred the Talmoeba, and it evolved to eat xenonite, which is terrible because Rocky's entire ship is made of xenonite. He is compromised, and without help, he will die. In a split second, Grace makes the ultimate, selfless call. He loads the cure into his drones, fires them back to Earth, and abandons his own ticket home, burning his remaining fuel to turn around and rescue his best friend.
And the payoff? It's just beautiful. Earth actually survives. We get a deeply satisfying glimpse decades into the future. The sun is saved, we see an older Eva Strat out on an icebreaker ship, and if you look really closely, she's sporting a V with a line through it tattoo. It's a prison break symbol, meaning life without parole. It shows Strat was held accountable for her ruthlessness, but hey, she's still out there causing trouble for the greater good.
As for Grace, well, he survives too, and he finally finds his true calling. Living in a specialized dome on Rocky's homeworld, an older Grace teaches a classroom of alien kids, and he asks them the exact same question he used to ask his human students back on Earth. What is the speed of light? He proves that our truest homes might just be out among the stars, alongside the soulmates we choose. It's an unforgettable cinematic journey that leaves us with one final question for you to answer. If you were millions of miles from home, with the fate of two worlds in your hands, who would you die for?